welcome our dear listeners and viewers to yet another interesting episode of Pilgrims of Hope, a program that is here to help us understand the Bull of Benediction by our Holy Father. We would love to inform you, our dear listeners and viewers, that our Holy Father is unwell, but he is receiving treatment currently, and he is responding well to treatment. We are asking you to also remember him in your prayers as you do your daily prayers, because he also needs prayers. He is human like us. We can pray for him just as he always prays for us. Our dear listeners and viewers, today we are discussing bringing hope to the marginalized, outreach to the prisoners and the vulnerable. I am not alone on the set. As usual, I am with my co-presenter, Stephen Chongo. Stephen, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, my friend, and it's good to be back on the set on this lovely program that is helping us, live a life full of hope. So, our dear listeners, we hope you'll be with us throughout the program, and definitely we promise you that you get one or two things from this particular topic.
Well, our dear listeners and viewers, as usual, I am your presenter, Grace Casapato. We are joined by our usual guest who helps us understand and discuss each and every topic that we have on the table each and every day. Please welcome Father Arthur to our program. Father, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. And
how are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm good. I don't know how you're doing yourselves.
I'm faring well.
We are doing very well, especially that we are a people of hope now.
Yeah,
we don't lose hope.
No, we don't.
that's important. Yeah.
Father, today we're discussing bringing hope to the marginalized, outreach to the prisoners and the vulnerable. And this particular topic, actually, it has just come up because, we have so many people that are actually lacking in so many things, and they're losing hope here and there, and, we want you to help us actually understand this bringing of hope to the marginalized and the vulnerable, and also the prisoners, because some of them, they feel like maybe
neglected.
Yeah, they really do. What can we bring? How can we bring hope to the people that feel left out and I just can't do this anymore, Father?
To begin with, I think we need to agree that when somebody is going through a hard time, they need hope. Yeah. As they say in English, hope is the last thing to lose. Once you lose hope, you're doomed. There's no more reason for you to be alive. Yeah. So that's the first thing they need. They need hope. They need words of encouragement. They need somebody to express care for them. Somebody who can go to them and say, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. But not only that, they need also some kind of concrete support, because the hardships, some of the hardships that they could be going through could have something to do with lacking food, lacking money to pay rentals, lacking money to pay school fees for the children, lacking money to meet the basic needs. So if the community around, or if the church, if the Smokeson community, or if any support group is able to meet their needs concretely, that would give them a lot of help, that they don't exist alone in the community. They exist with others, and others who care about them. When Jesus looks at the people that are vulnerable, he expresses compassion for them because they look like sheep without a shepherd. Yeah. If we want to give hope to the people that are vulnerable, that are suffering, let us look at them with eyes of compassion, because in their state of vulnerability, in their state of weakness, they are like they don't have a shepherd, like they don't have a pillar or something to hold on to, so that they don't drown in their own problems. So for us to be able to bring hope to the people that are suffering in our communities, there has to be openness. You know, now when we talk about openness, we're talking about accommodation. We should live a life that accommodates others. It's unfortunate, really, that in some communities, especially some typical urban communities, people live like they don't have neighbors. You know, you could have a funeral here, and your neighbor would live like there's no funeral in your house. Yeah.
It doesn't concern me.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, that's the world that we are creating now, and even these wall fences that we are building, some of them are as tall as Jericho.
The walls of Jericho.
Yeah. So of course there are security reasons to that, but that is also kind of not allowing us to relate. Yeah, such that if your neighbor has not eaten today, you will not know that my neighbor hasn't eaten. The world is becoming more and more individualistic. It's about me. It's about my family. As long as everything is okay with me, as long as everything is okay with the people that I care about, then the rest that's it. I mean, I'm okay. Yeah, that's the world we are creating. But the Holy Father in the Bull of Indiction is talking about having a community of openness. Okay, he talks about having a community of accommodation, having a community where everybody expresses concern over the situation of everybody else. That is community life. That's actually community life. Like, kind of, you know, in Africa, we years back we had this kind of community life, whereby if you are cooking in Shima, and you realize that you don't have enough meal to make nshima, tabwa kosio bwali bachongo. You get the point? Yeah. Something like that. And you know, there was a lot of poor planning. I mean, how do you start cooking nshima
without knowing that?
I mean, but anyway, so there was that kind of a thing, and we had no problem with that. You could easily go to your neighbor and say, hey, I've received 2 visitors, but I only have 1 blanket. And the neighbor would give, because there was that community life. And because of that, of course, there were still people that were lacking, but few people were lacking, because we were looking out for each other. Few people in the community could be lacking, especially those that did not open up to others to say, you know, those that were living a closed up life, kind of. But largely, we existed, or we grew up in a community where everybody was concerned about everybody else. When there was a funeral, it was a compound funeral. It was not just a family funeral. When there was a wedding, it was a compound wedding. Everybody came to your house to celebrate that. When there was Nangfemo and Apasa grade 7, everyone would celebrate with you, you know. But nowadays things are different. The world is becoming more and more individualistic. It's about me and me and me and me, and everybody else can also take care of themselves. That's where now we end up with more people lacking than those that have. This gap, the gap between the haves and the have-nots, the gap between the rich and the poor, the gap between those who have and who don't have, keeps widening, because the spirit of concern is diminishing. And that's where we are saying, let us go back to the drawing board. Let us go back to how things were. Let us bring back hope, especially in those that are losing it. And how do we do that? By bridging the gap that is widening. If I have two pairs of shoes, and I see that my neighbor does not have anything, it means 1 pair belongs to that person. I share with them, and that's how we build community. If I see that there's okay, let's talk about the funeral. There's a funeral at my neighbor's place. The first question that I should ask myself is, how can I be helpful to them? Okay, it doesn't matter. I may not even know the person that has died. I may not even have met them. In fact, I may not even be very close to the family that has that funeral. But the fact that the funeral is in my neighborhood, I should feel concerned. How can I be helpful to that family? What do I have in my house that I can share with the people that at the funeral? If I don't have anything to share, as it can be in some cases, I can still offer my services. I can go to the funeral house, help out kitchen, help out to do this and that. There is a lot that one can. But that has diminished. You don't see much of that anymore. Maybe in rural places, the community spirit is still there. I mean, when there's a funeral in the village, I mean, it's a village funeral and all that. But getting to the typical urban places, the story is different. That's why we see people dying just alone. Some people are discovered dead in their house. Some people go into depression because there's nobody that is around them so they share with them what is troubling them. Exactly. So people just suffer within themselves, suffer in their hearts because the community has become cold. And nowadays, even the issue of trust is you don't really know whom to trust. You don't know whether you should go and knock at your neighbor's house and share with them the problem that you are going through. Maybe tomorrow you might find it on Facebook.
Trending.
Yes, trending, something like that. So even the issue of trust comes in. So you don't want to fall vulnerable to anybody. What do? You just close the door, you close the windows, and you suffer alone in the house. And many people have found themselves in situations like that. So now, your question is, how can we bring hope to people like that, especially those that are, in fact, we are all vulnerable in one or the other. But maybe here we're talking of people that are more vulnerable than others.
Than us.
Exactly. People that are poorer than others. We are all poor, but those that are. So how do we give them hope that God still cares about them, God still wants them to live, that they shouldn't give up on God and on themselves? It is by having an open community. We could still have the offenses. There's no problem having. We're not saying let us break all the offenses so that the community looks like a football pitch. No. That's not the point here. The point is to open the doors of our hearts to one another, to break the offenses that we have built around our hearts, so that the coldness that we see, that we feel in the community could be transformed into warmth, so that everybody in that community feels they are part of the community and they exist with people, they live with people that care about their situation. That is going to bring back hope to many people.
So what are some of the reasons that this gap continues widening, especially here in town? Are we very busy? Is it the economic situation which makes us concentrate on other things?
No, the reasons are many, actually. The reasons are many, but what comes to my mind immediately is egoism. In other words, selfishness. I think there's a lot of selfishness, we have to admit, and that has contributed a lot to the gap. When we talk about selfishness, let's depict an example where even in the family situation, domestic level, in the family, when there is food has been shared, has been prepared at the table. Just look at the attitude of those that sit around. There's going to be one that is going to feel they need to eat more than the others, though they deserve a bigger share than the others. That is the spirit of selfishness we are talking about, where you just want at fingwamine as long as I feel okay myself, then I don't care about what others feel. So that spirit is what is spilling over now to the community, and that's where you see families just closing themselves and saying, okay, here we are. I'm okay with my children. I'm okay with my family. Everybody else can as well go and take care of themselves. So because of that, we see the gap widening. Those that are lacking continue to lack and lack and lack. Those that are having also continue to have and have and have. Now, how do we break this shell between the haves and the have-nots? We need to break that shell by having an open community. So one of the reasons for me, and quite prime, is selfishness, egoism. which can be linked to individualism. So once this, maybe we can also attach to these three things. We can also attach greed. Yeah, greed, which also translates into corruption. It translates into stealing, into theft, because it's only a greedy person that is going to be corrupt, that is going to steal. It is only a greedy person that is going to claim what does not belong to them. Yeah, because all they want is to have and have and have, and they even cross borders to grab what does not belong to them. It's like Grace, you have a plate of food there, but Shongo, you have a plate, and I have my own plate here. Instead of you eating from your own plate there, and I eat from my own and his, you start crossing borders. I'm also crossing borders, and those are signs of greed, and that is what we have to fight. Each one has a share. Each one has a share, but once you see people crossing borders and eating what does not belong to them, that is theft, that is corruption, that is selfishness, that is greed, that is a lot of things, and that is what creating or contributing to this gap we're talking about.
Okay, so Father, how can we kill that greediness, that selfishness, that ego? How can we kill it to at least bring hope to those that feel unseen, left behind?
We need to break the walls that we've built around our hearts. Let us turn our hearts from coldness to warmth. Let us be open to everyone. Let us realize that we don't exist alone in the community, that we are not the only ones God has put there. Some, yes, by God's grace, could be living a good life in terms of having everything that they need. But you see, look at your good life also as a blessing to other people, that God could have given you that good life so that you become a channel of blessings to others in your community. God had a relationship with the Israelites, and he blessed them in so many ways. But his intention was to bless this nation so that through them he reaches out to many other nations around the world. So if I am living a good life, like I have everything I need, it's not that God is only good to me and not good to others. I have become a channel of blessing. Or at least I should view myself as a channel of blessing. That God gives me these things as a point of distribution. It's like mumbale, when people contribute to the treasury, they bring all the resources to one basket. The way tax is collected, the tax collectors are going to put all these tax in one basket, so that this money is redistributed so that everybody else benefits. So the money is going to be used to build the roads, to build clinics, to build schools. So everybody is going to benefit from that. And that is how you have to look at yourself as well, as a person that is doing fine in that community, as a point where everybody is bringing their tax. It's a point of distribution. God has put all the resources in you so that those resources could be, through you, distributed to the community, to those that are suffering the community. But if I'm going to claim everything that God has given you, has given me, then I don't understand why God gave me that good life. Okay, what we're calling good life. I don't understand. It has to do now with the mentality, how I look at myself. Is this quite all right? I may even claim that I worked so hard, really hard, to have what I have. I went to school. Maybe I even suffered for me to get this education.
Do you know where I come from?
Exactly. Do you know the path that I've walked? So we hear such sentiments. Exactly. So there are all those, but then we forget that God has given us whatever we have now, regardless of the paths that we have trodden. God has given us what we have now, so that we can raise our eyes and see the brokenness in others around the community, and ask ourselves, how can I be helpful to these people that I see in my community? I
want to share with you, Father, and also ask a question on that. In our community where I come from, there was a lady. She was blessed, like you've mentioned, and she decided that she'll reach out to all the aged in our small Christian community. She used to buy them a lot of things, help them, buy minimum for them. But again, she heard someone saying, wazimvera manje, and then she became offended.
Yeah.
And then she stopped. Okay, there are certain external forces that make us maybe stop doing what we really want to do to help out. Should we stop in such cases, or how can we handle such situations like this lady had?
If I put myself in the shoes of that lady, I would, before I make a decision to stop, I would ask myself a question: why am I doing what I'm doing? What is my motivation? And I have to be honest with myself when I ask myself that question. I have to respond to it honestly, because I'm the only one that knows the real intention. The intention, yes. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Before I come to that decision of saying, why am I doing this? Am I doing this to make a name? Am I doing this for ulterior motives? Am I doing this wholeheartedly to help these people in the community? Not everybody in the community will see the real intention in my heart. When people look at me and they see what I'm doing, all they will see is Bazimvera. Okay, because they don't understand why I am doing what I'm doing. I'm the only one who understands. So what should make me stop doing what I'm doing is, am I doing this? Am I conscious? Exactly.
Telling you that
not what people are saying, because people always say things. Whether you like it or not, people will always say things. No matter how good a person you are, there's always that one person that comes and says, who you are. There's always that one person. So if I begin to listen to such noises, I'm not going to do anything good for anybody. I'm not going to do anything at all, not even anything good for myself, because I'll be like, should I buy a car for myself? No, people will think I'm boasting, so let me not buy a car. Should I go and sit at that place and eat ice cream? They'll be like, put the ice cream on the. So you can't even do something good for yourself because you're scared of what people are going to say. Of course, when people begin to talk, it hurts. I mean, you could have pure intentions and you really just want to help people, and then people begin to throw those stones. You are just human, so it can hurt you. You can even immediately just say, I think this is the wrong path I've taken. Let me stop doing what I'm doing. But when you sit down, when you are alone and sit down and begin to examine your conscience, ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Before I finally decide to put my tools down, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for myself or for those people that I'm helping? What has motivated me to do this? I'm the only one that knows why I am doing what I'm doing. Yeah. So those that are doing such works, such good works for other people, and they feel discouraged because of external forces, should sit down before they finally decide to stop what they're doing. They should sit down and say and ask themselves these questions we're talking about.
Okay, Father, what outreach programs can be put in place to support the prisoners that need support?
Okay, we come to the prisoners.
Yes.
The prisoners, abafungwa. Yeah. So when you are incarcerated, you are still a human being. Yeah. And you still enjoy the rights that every human being would enjoy, the basic rights, the fundamental human rights. You might not have the freedom to movement since you are incarcerated, of course, for that particular reason. But what we are saying is that when you are incarcerated, when you are imprisoned, that does not make you an animal. And that means you cannot be treated like an animal. You are still a human being, whether in there or out here. Yeah, you are still a human being. So when I'm incarcerated, I also need help. Okay, we in the Catholic Church we do have a ministry to the prisons. You know, we do have prison outreach. where in some parishes people will bring themselves together or put themselves together, put some resources together, and go and make a donation. We have seen in the Archdiocese of Lusaka a lot of that has been happening, where even the Archbishop himself has been to the prisons to see those that are incarcerated. It is a ministry. I think Kabwata Parish and St. Lawrence have that ministry, and is quite strong,
Active, yes.
quite active, and many other places anyway that we might not mention or that we might not know. But simply put, it is a ministry, and this ministry is involved in activities of looking at the affairs of those that are incarcerated. Because, like we are saying, they are still human beings who need clothes. They're still human beings who need to eat.
Need food.
They need food and other things. Of course, there is some limitation for the reason that they are incarcerated, but they still need those things we mentioned. So, how do we give them hope? How do we reach out to them? Through works of charity. First of all, as Christian communities, we need. And I wish this could be in every parish around the country, where we just develop this. We just have this ministry to the prisons. Like every parish should have a group of people dedicated to this particular ministry of reaching out to those that are incarcerated. Do you know that some people that are incarcerated are actually innocent? Yeah. Others did not commit the crime, but they found themselves with criminals, in the company of criminals, and they were taken by the waves. There are many reasons. Others, they are because they did something wrong. We can't deny that. But regardless of all these different circumstances, none of these is reduced in any way in terms of their humanity. So they need someone to reach out to them in ways that we have mentioned, in terms of clothing, in terms of food and medication when they are sick and all that. So how can we reach out? First of all, let us have structures in our parishes. Let us have structures in our diocese of prison ministry. It should not be just no nibaja parish chapinde bamenda ku prison kuno ku parish ife na vinango. No. Learn from them. How do you do this? Go to them. But St. Lawrence, Bakabwata Parish, how do you do this? They will give you ideas. Oh, this is how we started and this is where we are. Okay, so if parish now, how do we participate? How do we start? Then you learn from them. Every parish should at least have a group dedicated to the prison ministry, so that those our brothers and sisters that are incarcerated for whatever reason, whatever circumstances, those that are incarcerated could feel still they are still human beings. They are people that that God still loves, regardless of what they have done. I mean, who has not sinned? Everybody has sinned. We just differ in terms of degree of sins. But we are all sinners. So how do we have to create platforms of reach out by creating those ministries, different groups in all parishes, in all dioceses. Let us strengthen this ministry so that we can also minister to those that are incarcerated as a church.
You mentioned, Father, you mentioned that some don't deserve to be in prison, but they are there. I would like to believe they really need special attention when it comes to reaching out. Maybe if you have access to them, how you counsel them, how you reach out to them, because indeed they are innocent. I'm not saying those that are really guilty don't need outreach, but these who are really innocent with a lot of years to spend there, they really need some attention, special attention.
Yeah, because them being there and they know deep down their heart that they didn't commit that crime, it breaks them more than the others. If I'm going to be taken in, and I know that I'm paying for what I did, I'll be broken quite alright, but not as much. But if I'm going to be incarcerated and I know that I don't deserve to be there, somebody just misunderstood me, or I found myself in the wrong place, or whatever happened, but I know that I didn't commit the crime. That breaks me even more. So you are right when you say they need more attention. You are very right. They actually need more attention, because apart from just them being incarcerated, being in that place, they will run also into depression, issues of depression, and so they will need counseling. They will need a lot of help in many ways, not just physical help, but also talking to them. That's why the prison ministry has to be strengthened in our parishes and dioceses.
Okay, Father, just like Stephen stated earlier, to say this is a person who has been taken to prison for charges they didn't commit, and then here is also a person who was also convicted because of the crime they committed. And then how do we, as that person, maybe this person stole something, maybe a phone, you will be charged for that, you will go to prison. Or maybe this person actually raped a juvenile, they'll be convicted, of course. And there's always life after prison. In both ways, whether you're guilty or not, there's always a life after the imprisonment. How can we restore the dignity that each and every human being deserves in this world after they have been convicted for different crimes? How do we restore the dignity?
Yeah, I think you're asking about reintegration into society.
Yes, the reintegration.
And that has been a struggle for many people. After they are released from prison, life is not the same anymore, and the relationships that they have or they had with people, they're not the same anymore. Yeah. And so they struggle with reintegration. And the community many times also is not helpful. Yeah, it's not helpful, because when you look at them, all you see is a criminal. Yeah. Is you even give the name at Chanichi, at former inmate or whatever, ex-convict. I was looking for that. Yes, ex-convict. You know, they carry that tag. Yeah. Ex-convict, and so the community is not helpful, and the community, of course, is trying to be careful, because we don't know whether this person has
really
reformed or they're still,
or they're getting worse,
or becoming hardcore.
Yeah. So reintegration has always been a struggle for our friends, and that is where, as a community, we need to help them. Yeah, we need to help them by, first of all, understanding that they've already paid for whatever they did. Okay, if they did whatever was leveled against them, they have already paid for that. Give them an opportunity to demonstrate that they are a different person, that they have changed. Don't be cold towards them, especially first starting, even before we talk about the community out there, family, because this stigma sometimes that's from the family. From the family, nuclear family or biological family or extended family, within the family circles. Uja anachoka uja hivi osa ndako uja akabwela pa nyumba osa shita hivi yido mzivala what, things like that. So they feel, first of all, neglected, rejected by the family, because they are an ex-convict. Then coming to the community out there, it is even worse. Yes. So now they don't know how to, or where to go, how to restart their life. Even when they go to places of work and they have this tag of ex-convict, not many companies want to employ an ex-convict. So things become even worse when they are looking for employment. And unfortunately, and this I have to say, unfortunately, even at church, they are looked at with the eyes of ndiye huyu. So the church is let me not say the church, but some members of the church begin to look at them like osampasa kampando now uyu sangade treasurer uyu osampasa baoli chaudu uyu chani, because they are an ex-convict. So reintegration becomes a problem. Becomes difficult. Yes, we can help them to actually reform further. The time that they spent in prison could have done only 60% of their reformation. We're not saying they have come out a perfect person. They are not a perfect person. The same way that we ourselves that have been out all this time are not perfect. Okay. In fact, some of us might even deserve to be in
than the
one. Yeah. So anyway, so this person has come out. He or she is not a perfect person. They can still make a mistake, the same way that all of us make mistakes. But let us help them. If the prison only did 60% of their reformation, we can do the rest of the percentage. We can do the 40% we are going back to having an open community, a warm community, not a cold community. A warm community whereby when they come out, they feel, yes, I have a family that is welcoming me back, a family that understands my situation, a family that has walked with me, especially if the time that they spent in prison, the family has been visiting them. Because sometimes we forget about them. I can get a bench bus. In 5 years, mukaliboenda muona, you don't even know akudia chani zilibwanji. This person will just be there. When they come out, they want to feel that they belong somewhere. Do you know that some of them, I think the word is relapse?
The old habit.
They go back because we have not helped them to settle. Yeah. So now, in their quest to survive, they're trying to survive. They've just come out. They don't have employment. They don't have anything at all. They don't have a place to call a home. So they are trying to survive. In trying to survive, they relapse. They go back in their old ways. And then the community begins to say, Maona. Sanga chinje. But we forget that we have not done our job ourselves. We have not done our work to help them reform, to accommodate them, to bring to create a family that is open to them, to say, ukalimona watu, come. And we'll do the rest of the percentage that the prison didn't do. So we help them to settle. If we have the means, we even help them to to find employment or to start a business and what. That this person will not see the reason they should go back to their old ways, because they have been accommodated by the family and by the community and by the members of the church.
Father, what can be your advice to someone who was released, but they're facing this stigma, this tag on them? It's a reality on the ground. But how should they respond to such? How should they carry themselves?
Try by all means not to go back to your old ways. Yeah, that's the first thing. Whatever happens to you, whatever you do, try not to go back to your old ways. Don't go back to the things that took you into prison. Don't even entertain that temptation, because once that happens, it becomes grounds on which the community will even say, okay, we knew this person cannot change, and therefore it's like you are doomed now forever. The community cannot ever and ever accommodate you. Don't go back to your old ways. Of course, when you go back to your old ways, most likely you will even go back to prison. Yeah. So try not to. Then secondly, try to believe in your capabilities. Try to believe that no matter how much I'm rejected, or I feel rejected by my family and my community, I can still make it. I can still stand alone, like that little plant that is growing all alone in the desert, where there is scorching heat and there is no enough water. That plant, I can still stand alone like that plant. You have to have a strong conviction that you can still make it. You know what happens when ngamaposa beans pachishala? What happens? Ila mena. Mwaposa kasid. Na kabola. Yali pesei. Kali bola. It has been to prison. Tukapose kuchishala. Makaposa pachishala ka beans kati.
Bloso.
Mwinelesa vela lokesha pwemfula. Mwamona fi akatoa pose yaka.
Kana green kuchira
mwala swako na nani kani na chinkamba mwala swako mwala mabula mwala jana kuja. That's what happens. Now, that seed could not have grown if it didn't believe in itself. Okay, we are using the seed, but let us, So if you don't believe in yourself, you cannot grow. You cannot germinate. You die just the way that the people want you to die. Or you as well just go back to the prison because you will relapse. So believe in your capabilities. Know that yes, you have made mistakes in the past, and it is difficult for people in the community to welcome you back, but you can still stand even without them to put all the broken pieces of your life together, to mend yourself, to grow yourself, such that come tomorrow the same community will come and say, okay, we thought, Kanshi, we were wrong. Yeah. The third thing, I've talked about two things. Do not relapse. Do not go back to your old ways. Believe in yourself. Believe in your capabilities. The third thing is, don't forget your God. Don't forget to pray. Don't distance yourself from God. You might in some way feel abandoned by the same God. There are people who feel so you might quite right feel that way, and it's normal as a human being to feel in that manner, but always try to be close to God and pray unceasingly. Our God is a God of surprises. He's a God of miracles. He's a God that performs miracles and remains anonymous. You will not even realize that it is God doing things in the background when your life will start transforming and unfolding into something that people will look at and admire. So continue praying for restoration. Continue praying to God for strength, for courage to pull through, and one day everybody will come and say, we thought he was an ex-convict. No, but it's not it doesn't deserve the name ex-convict. He's a breadwinner. He's a human being, a breadwinner.
Okay. Father, just like you said, this person is thriving to get back on track and then just trying to live a normal life, just like he or she used to be before they were convicted. How can we ensure that the marginalized and the vulnerable voices are heard as they're striving to get back on track with their life? How can we help them so that they can feel that their voices are heard and they are indeed valued?
Yeah, so regardless how vulnerable you are, regardless of how poor you are, regardless of how life, in inverted commas, has been unfair to you, you still have a voice. Yeah. And if you still have a voice, you deserve to be heard. There should be an ear that listens to your voice, that hears your voice. Everybody has a voice. Sometimes some people are pushed away because, who are they? Yeah. Even I like giving examples ya kuchitend. Yeah. There's a lot that happens but chitend. Yeah. You see, there are people at the Smoke Sun community meeting whose voices will not be heard because who are they? You get the point? Yeah. Because this community is a community of people of different statuses. Yeah. So there are those who are, let us say, vulnerable. Okay, they don't have money. They don't have fat bank accounts. They don't have vehicles. They don't have whatever. All they have is their faith. That is the only thing they have. Yeah. So and usually they are very wise. Like when they speak at the community, there's a lot of wisdom coming out of them. And the community will just be, okay. We'll come to that point. But what we are saying basically is, that's the language we are speaking. So they are not heard because they are vulnerable, because they are poor. Those who have money, and everybody knows kuti aba ndiye ba sponsor olokwamkala function iliyonse aba
it's going to go on not until that person arrives.
Exactly. So waja, even before they say anything basa call the secretary is already taking notes. Yeah, so those are heard more. So why are we giving this example? What we are saying is everybody has a dignity, and what gives you dignity is not your wealth, it's not your status, it's the fact that you are a human being created in the image and likeness of God. And we are, as long as we are all human, we are created in the same image and likeness of God, and that is what gives us dignity. That is what gives us a voice. That is what gives us the right to be heard. When I speak, it doesn't matter how much I have or how much I don't have. When I speak, I deserve to be heard. I deserve to be given an ear. Unfortunately, there's very little of that happening. When those that do not have much in society speak, very few people are ready to listen. It's only those, the influentials, those that whose names are written on the billboards, those are the ones whose voices are heard more. But that's unfortunate, because they do not have a bigger dignity than those that do not have, or a more important dignity than those that do not have. Everybody deserves to be heard, because everybody has a voice. In the communities, timamvera madandalo y'abantu, no kuno boma yanganepo, kuno chanchanya. Most of those voices just remain on the media. That's it. You know, no kuno mbeolani ma flood chanchani, so kuno nani situation is so the government mgatandize kwa parts. Yeah, we're going to hear those voices on radio, or we are going to see those people complain on TV. But most of those voices just end up there. Because I mean, me seated in that office of influence and looking at that, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll not be bothered. But if somebody who has titles to their name, somebody of some status comes on TV and says something, everybody will be running around. The government is going to shake. No, because the church has spoken. No, because the bishop has spoken. No, because that person, the tycoon of America has spoken. Everybody is running around. But the question is, does that person have a more dignity than those that we saw on TV complaining about drainages? No. Everybody deserves to be heard. Of course, the church is in a privileged position. Let me put it that way. The church is in a privileged position to be the voice of those whose voices are not heard. Because the reality is that, yes, there are some people in the community that are speaking, but their voices are not heard because they don't have any status to talk about. They don't have any titles attached to their names. So the church assumes that position. We speak for them, because when we speak, we know that our voice is going to go far and wide. Yeah. Okay.
Father, as we wrap up,
we are already wrapping up.
Yes.
Our time flies.
Yeah, we can go on and on and on. What initiative can be put in place to break the barriers that actually hinder the vulnerable from accessing support?
I'll go back to the word we started with, creating openness. Yeah. Creating openness, creating a community of openness. And that has everything to do with creating a warm community. Everybody should feel they have a place in the community. They should have a sense of belonging. Everyone should feel kunundia kunyumba watu. Not any other place, but this is my home. This is my place. And for us to, and in fact, and I think this impresses so much on those that are in positions of decision making. I think they have a bigger responsibility. They are the ones that are holding resources that can be distributed equally or in an equitable manner to the people in the community. So they need to have a heart also that is open, a heart that is genuinely concerned about the suffering the sufferings of the people in the community. Let us talk about also the ordinary members of the community. Even there, we talked about we talked about funerals, where when there's a funeral, it should become a community funeral. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you know them, so as long as malilo yali compound muja mkomboni mwako, that is also your funeral. How can I be helpful to that family? If I don't have any minimum to contribute, can I contribute my services? Can I go there and nayateba kwenkuni? Na salula kokapenta. Can I be helpful in that manner? So when we create this community of openness, we are going to solve a lot of problems that a lot of people are going through now. But as long as we build wall fences around our houses and more so wall fences around our hearts, the world we are creating is just an individualistic world, a world of greed, a world of selfishness, and a world that will just continue to widen that gap between the haves and the have-nots.
Okay. Our dear listeners and viewers, you have been with us on this program, Pilgrims of Hope, a program that is here to help us understand the bull of indiction by our Holy Father. Today we have been discussing bringing hope to the marginalized, outreach to the prisoners and the vulnerable. I have been your presenter, Grace Gasapato, and Stephen Chongo and Father Arthur. For now, it's bye. Till next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.